When Chhorii had released, there were a section of people who said, who felt that the horror elements were not much.
Right.
There were few places where they felt those jump scares.
Right.
Was it something deliberate that you thought, okay, now with Chhorii 2, I'm going to bring all those elements right in the trailer first?
See, the idea of this franchisee goes bigger than just horror, right? It is a social horror. It is also designed in a way that we want to say some things, we want to address some social evils, right? So then it does not lend itself to cheap horrors or to unnecessary jump scares and things like that. So we have always kept it atmospheric. Even this one is atmospheric, just the atmosphere is elevated to a much more creepier, much more eerie atmosphere and very claustrophobic. It is almost like a nightmare. So that is what we have tried to do with this one.
Okay. As a producer, Vikram sir, what is it that takes you that conviction that okay, this is a movie which deserves a sequel?
The success of the previous edition is a good starting place to start. But it all boils down to the vision of the storyteller, followed by is there potential to enhance the story. If you see Abundancia's filmography, we haven't done franchises by just leveraging a title or by just creating a world where nobody wanted to see an extension. True franchises, true continuation of stories and a storyteller's vision are when you either take the theme or the story arc or a character forward. Chhorii 2 allowed us to do all of that. The central character continues. The overarching story continues, and then there's the ability to build in newer, bigger dimensions to the original story and keep enhancing not just the experience, but the franchise itself. The validation of it is in when people around you, partners like T-Series, Amazon Prime Video, Jack Davis, equally believe in the fact that there's a bigger, greater, newer story to be told. So all of this needs to come together to form a true franchise that people want to keep coming back for. Commercially, it's always a more prudent decision to take a familiar story and tell it in a bigger manner because there's already a consumer base for it, an audience base for it.
True. Nushrratt, Chhorii, can I say that it was kind of a turning point for you in sense that you were headlining the movie. Though the roles that you played before that, in certain movies, that was pivotal, your role. But this was completely, the story revolved around you. So in that sense, and also because post that we also saw, a few other movies came, which didn't do well. But yes, you were, face of those movies. In that sense, do you think that it was a turning point in sense like people saw you that okay, you have that bankability as an actor?
No, of course. I was saying this even the first time we did round of interviews for Chhorii 1, that when Vikram sir and Vishal sir, and it's so uncanny, I have separate history with both of them. Vikram sir has been my producer from first film, from LSD. And then he was the producer on Pyar Ka Panchnama also. And then he brought my first solo lead to me, which was Chhorii. Vishal sir, I've in fact met at another producer's office long back. For another film, which was also a female-centric film.
Right.
So he saw me in that and he offered that to me, but that film never happened. It never got made. And then he came again with this film. So I said, okay, this is like a universe coming together sorts. And I think for me, doing a film like this, I don't think it's just me headlining a film, but I think it's the scope I had as an actor to do in that film, which none of the other films before that gave me. It didn't give me so much space, so much room, so much scope to do. It didn't put me in those situations which honestly were unreal for me as a person. I don't know what a girl who's pregnant with 8 months child goes through and who's stuck like that and who's being traumatized and tortured by other things and other people and ghosts. So it was a very unreal setting, unreal world for me. It let me as a person, as an actor, push boundaries that I hadn't even thought of. So I'm very grateful, honestly. Thank you guys. I'm going to touch wood on this. If there is wood over here, I don't know. My head is enough, I guess. But all of you all really for bringing this to me and audiences. Like he said, if you guys had not accepted it, and if you guys had not made it what it was, like part 1, तो female franchise कितनी ही बनती है, कौन बनाता है? So I think I'll consider myself very privileged. Thank you, all the forces above and below that have led us to make a franchise of Chhorii.
Yeah. And it also led to more movies or maybe offers coming your way to be this solo heroine in the movie.
Yeah. Then I had Janhit come my way, Akeli come my way, and now 2-3 other films, which are again all, I don't know how it's happened. It's not like I'm going out there and choosing those films. I'm not. I'm very happy doing other films and other parts also if I find them interesting. But somehow it's changed audience's perception of me. And I guess even the trade's perception of me, and I think a mixture of that is bringing more scripts that way and like that to me.
That's good.
Wonderful.
So can I say what a comeback? Can I say that?
You can say it. You can say whatever you want.
It's your interview.
You can.
But it is so good to see you, especially in a space where, I mean, we didn't expect you to be part of this horror world. And the character looks very interesting.
I love it. I am so happy with how it's turned out. And I have to thank everyone sitting here, but especially these two gentlemen who came to my house some time ago. And of course, Vikram sir and I have worked together before. And he said, I've got something slightly out there for you to consider. And I'm going to bring the director and he'll take you through the vision. And I said, sure. And then when he told me what he was expecting, I was like, Firstly, the instinct, the actor in me was like, I really want to play an antagonist. And I love horror. I think that it is one of the most compelling forms of cinema that really, if it's done well, it can absorb you, it can move you literally, from your seat and stay with you for days and months. Like my first horror when I was way too young, I couldn't sleep for 3 months.
Aww.
So, that's the kind of impact it has on you. So I said, I want to, but, I mean, I don't know how, my first concern was, as a girl, how am I going to look? As a slightly monstrous look. I don't want it to look badly done. Yeah, like it might be tacky. I don't know Indian horror. Has it been done up to standard in the past? So it's a leap of faith. But I'm also that kind of person who takes a leap of faith, and I'm trusting of my team. And I'm so glad I did because, of course, we've seen the film and you guys have seen the trailer and the teaser. And I just think it's looking phenomenal. It's looking so good, and it's turned out, it's exceeded my expectations from everything. It's a collaborative effort. Of course, the performances, but the cinematography, the sound, the music, the OTS, the lighting, everything.
Sets.
I just want to be on horror films for the lighting. It looks so good. I'm not sure about this daylight and rom-coms. I'm going to be underground and candlelit all the time.
Smoke, dust,
Yeah.
darkness.
Bring it on.
It's very attractive.
But I have to add here, Soha mentioned the first time that Vishal and I went to her, and I had only told her that we are coming to you with something very different and very unique. We'd worked together, she didn't know what to expect, and the first time that we opened it up and we showed some visual references that Vishal and team had come up with for her character in Chhorii 2, I remember Soha laughed. She just laughed for a bit, and
That's
then
my reaction. I'm very nervous.
I kind of got that. and when she looked at me, I was like, that is it. And I have to admit, it's a brave choice.
Yeah.
Nushrratt did it in the first edition as well, when you're playing that character, you're portraying a character which is pregnant, which is going through a lot of physical and emotional torture, and then in this one, Soha just made this character her own. If you see the film, when you do, you'll realize how physically challenging it was, how difficult it is to play those multiple forms. It's not an easy role. You just don't turn up with a little amount of makeup and just go around, say your lines and call it a day. So in many ways, it's both of them having made these exceptionally brave and disruptive choices that has allowed Vishal and me to do what we've done with the film.
So you wanted to, audience to surprise it in a way, and that's the reason why you kept away yourself from movies and you were waiting for an offer which will probably,
No, I just really don't look at my life like that.
Okay.
I look at, there's so much that I'm doing that happens that you are not privy to, which I'm really enjoying myself doing. Of course, parenting, writing, acting also now, but I do really love acting. And truth be told, when I became a parent, because I'm an obsessive person, I became obsessed with my child, and I forgot not just films or my work. I forgot my family, I forgot my friends, I forgot my husband, everyone. I was just obsessed with this child. And now she's older. And she doesn't need me anymore. And so now I need to find something. I need my identity.
So let's go scare people.
Yeah, so now I go back and say, please can I do some work again, because nobody wants me anymore at home. So that's the truth, that you mustn't lose yourself. You're a mother.
Yes.
You have a child who's dead now. I don't know if it happened to you, but I'm one of those people who lost themselves, and now I must find myself again, and I really love what I'm doing. So I took a little hiatus, but I'm back.
Yes.
And how?
Yeah.
Vishal, in the first part, sugarcane fields, the tape recorder were, those apt choices that were made. I don't know if the writer made it, how it happened, whose choice was it, I don't know. But tell me, that really played a huge role in scaring the audience. What can people expect from Chhorii 2? Have you added those kind of new elements to it?
Chhorii 2 is a very different spin on horror. Okay, so the elements that you speak about, I think they are a very traditional elements which organically add a certain eerie atmosphere. In Chhorii 2, the best part is that the eeriness comes from the people and the characters in the film. We did not need those elements to be there, right? Because the people itself are so scary that just the way they think and the way they execute their thoughts is extremely scary. So that is where the film is. So we did not need those external elements to create. It's just the mind of these people.
Okay. Nushrratt and Soha, do you somewhere think, for me it's really fascinating to see, women doing something really different on screen, because the men traditionally are doing the same thing, is what I believe, being part of those larger than life movies or doing action, because that's working. So do you feel that, it's a great space for women in sense because they're getting those opportunities to do something really different, be it on OTT, be it in movies?
Sonu Ki Jidi Ki Sweetie released 2018. And I remember we, as a film, were awarded the best buzz of the film award at IWM Awards, which were OTT awards. They were giving out awards to content which was just being created on OTT platforms. And I've gone on stage then, which is 2018, and I've said this is a great time for actors, for writers, for directors to make things that conventionally would not allow them to make, and choices for them to make now, because we don't have the pressure of just a film working or a business of it, because there is a platform which you can just do purely for the art of it and express what you want to express. So I felt that time was there since then. उसके बाद कोविड हुआ, उसके बाद OTT boom हुआ, and then everybody went to it. But I don't know, I think I saw it then, and which is why I chose to do an Ajeeb Dastan even before lockdown. I chose to do this while we were in the lockdown. I feel like it doesn't matter where it comes out, as long as you're part of a film and a story and a character and a world which really is saying something different and doing something different. Of course, it has to resonate with you. You can't just do anything that you don't like. But if you have people consuming it at different places, then my God, it's like we have a Candyland. You can just keep doing more films and more things and more characters and hope that the audiences will consume all of it.
Yeah, but female actors playing, taking that risk and having that faith, more so, because the men are, I think, obsessed with box office numbers and all of that, which I'm not saying that female actors aren't. But do you think that it's great to be in a space where you are purely thinking about what you want to do?
I think it's great, and I'll tell you what, I give it to actors who've done it before us, like Vidya Balan, like Deepika. People have taken, like Alia, they've taken that path very bravely, where, look, we would want to do it, but the makers and the trade should also allow us to do it. Unless now we start writing our own films and producing it and directing it, it's not possible, right? You need an avenue to kind of choose. Why don't we just do it then?
Yeah,
let's do that. That's a side little hustle, sorry guys. But I think, why not? Why not do it? We've seen people who've made success stories and films that have worked. And of course, I do agree with the practicality of it also. You don't make a film to run in losses. You have to make some kind of profit on it. The producer has to make a profit. Hence, director gets paid, actors get paid, like everybody gets paid. So there is a business model that you have to adhere to. You can't be blinded by that. But I do believe you can coexist with a good film, a good content, a good budget, and have female actors lead it. I think
Soha?
I do think somewhere women do challenge themselves and take risks. I think also women wear a number of different hats in life. You know, we perform with great aplomb a number of different tasks at the same time. We're born multitaskers and thinking out of the box. And I do think it's a little advantage that we have over men. Traditionally, I feel like perhaps men get caught up in their own images and find it difficult to break out of a mold. So perhaps that's why you see women taking more chances. But of course, I completely agree with Nushrratt in that you take a chance and you think out of the box and you do something different, but it must also, at the end of the day, there's a business behind it and it should make some kind of financial sense as well. And it's nice to see the audience is responding. You know, as a woman in her 40s, I'm seeing myself being represented on screen in a very believable, credible, realistic way. And I think that's wonderful. So you have women and men responding to female protagonist roles, content, shows, films. So I think that's a change that I've seen in my lifetime in the last 10 years, which is very positive.
As a filmmaker also, I feel that women's stories have much more dynamism in them than men's stories.
And women are easier to work with than men. Say it, not just say it.
Yes, you can say it.
These two
Far
women.
more fun to have around.
These two women are easy to work with.
No, I didn't say anything like that. I just stopped there. But I knew the fill in the blanks would happen.
Would happen.
Your filmography says it. But you enjoy working
actually.
But yeah, sorry, you were saying, please. I want to hear the tarif.
See, the range is already here. So no, but I feel that the stories become much more dynamic when, let's say, for example, whenever I'm writing a story, if I start with a male character and then I suddenly switch that story into a female character, suddenly the story starts seeing shades which are so dynamic and so, have such a great variety that it just becomes much more interesting for me. So I kind of always end up turning all my scripts into female-led scripts.
Typically, you put a man and a woman, typically the woman will be more interesting than the man.
Yeah.
Typically that your visual will be, like if there are two people on screen, a man and a woman, I think most people look at the woman first. Then they look at the man. Unless it's, Hrithik Roshan.
I was going to say exactly that. Unless it's Hrithik Roshan. That's period. That's it. That's the bar set right there.
Vishal, so for Chhorii, you had your own Marathi movie to fall back on.
Right.
For Chhorii 2, did you seek any inspiration from any movies or was it entirely your idea? Because you're also a fan of horror movies. I mean, what I've read is Japanese horror movies and Spanish horror movies. Or were there any other horror movies that inspired you for Chhorii 2?
Inspiration can come from many avenues, many makers, many films. But when you're writing an original story, you don't know where the inspiration comes from. Most of the times, it comes from real life, right? And when you meet people and when you see those events and when you see how it is affecting those people and then what really happens. So my use of horror is to tell human stories. I'm not really here to just tell scary stories, right? I'm here to tell human stories because the sheer definition of a ghost or a dark spirit is that the spirit has gone through something. And let's understand what that person has gone through. And then let's not repeat that mistake again, right? Because that person has already gone through it. So that is the way I look at horror. So for me, the inspiration comes from life itself, but then I fictionalize it because most of the time what I've seen is that those stories are too dark. If told in its real raw form, probably an audience won't be able to digest that. So we have to fictionalize it. We have to really dumb it down to make it accessible for the audience so that they can sit through it, they can watch it, right? So that's the journey usually. So it's not, the inspiration is real life.
Okay. I just have two questions. One, Vikram sir, for you, clearly as she said, your filmography is, speaks about the kind of belief that you have in women. Even the upcoming ones, what we hear, you're making with Madhuri and Trupti, and then there is also a movie with, there's a series, with Bhumi Pednekar. Clearly, as a producer, do you don't see that distinction between men and women as far as backing movies are concerned? Do these box office numbers really don't play in your mind in sense that, today, because it's more about getting those bigger numbers. 100 is the minimum benchmark today.
So, lots of questions in this. I know no other way except for the fact that a good story is a good story. It could be led by a male protagonist, it could be led by a female protagonist. It could be led by a robo. A good story is a good story. If you look at Abundancias in my filmography, from Kahani to Chhorii 2, a majority of our work has been female first stories, both in front of the camera and behind it. Not just as writers and directors, but also as crew members, technicians. It comes naturally to us. Have I gone out seeking stories that have strong female characters? Yes. But it works both ways. These stories find us as we go out looking for them. And now it's become self-fulfilling in many ways. Like Vishal said, Soha said, there's an inherent dynamism to stories that are led by women. It's also because historically there have been so much lesser films that have been led by women rather than by men all over the world. So that leaves so many of such amazing stories and perspectives untold and
Untouched,
therefore untouched. They become unique to the audience. And from a Shakuntala Devi to a Jalsa to a Sherni to a Chhorii, Sukhi, Hush Hush, which was a series that we did, which also featured Soha.
Yes.
Going ahead as well, there's a big chunk of our slate which is led by women. And I don't believe in a distinction, but I definitely believe that strong female characters led in lead or led in another way just resonate that much better. And it's just second nature at Abundancia for us now.
True. Okay, lastly.
Also, sorry, I don't know, I know there's time problems there, but why is this pressure of 100 crore benchmark?
Yeah,
I mean, you
I
said
don't
it in
know,
your
yeah.
question. I feel like don't do that. I feel like we live in a lot of pressure in any case with the world and the spotlight on us. How does a maker make a film for its truest form if he's only thinking isse 100 crore kaise banega? How does an actor choose a film in its purest form if he or she is constantly thinking about, is this going to be a 100 crore hit? And the person who's given a 100 crore hit is always going to think, acha, agli wali better hogi ya nahi hogi? Kyun itna pressure hai?
Some of my most profitable films, highest ROI films, have been ones that have been led by women. Which is why it's not just coincidence and fancy that we choose to include so much of such work in our filmography. It also makes tremendous business sense. And I don't think 100 crores or 200 crores or 500 crores as a top line box office number can be seen in isolation. It's about the investment. You could make a film for 300 crores and earn 150 crores at the box office. That
loss.
means nothing. But she's very good at business, by the way. But what it also means is that commercially, each film has to make sense in its own right.